All right, now we are on the stage, and now there should be audio for everyone. And Beth
Indeed.
is over there, and I'm over here, and in the middle we've got some slides.
Let's just kind of formally welcome everyone. We are so excited to have you here as part of our first field guide meeting, on Shindig. Um, Clark, let me introduce myself. I'm Beth Rubin from Campbell University. We have Clark Shaw Nelson. And if she's able to make it in, Felice Banner will join us. I see her there. I'm at Campbell University, which is just outside Raleigh,
North Carolina.
You got
representing. It. Felice, can we hear you speak?
Can you hear me, guys? Am I coming through loud and clear? Excellent. Felice Banner here. Hey guys, I'm actually up in Saratoga Springs, New York. I'm an independent e-learning consultant, and today I'm working at SUNY. I'm at the SUNY offices at the Center for Professional Development in Syracuse. Flew my little airplane out here this morning.
Very cool. And I'm Clark Shaw Nelson, Assistant Dean of Instructional Design and Technology at the University of Maryland, Baltimore for the School of Social Work. And we want to welcome you all.
For the next half hour, we are just talking to field guides, and we're so happy to have you as the inaugural field guide group. And then at 1 o'clock, we'll be joined by the field guide participants, or however many can make it. And we're going to go over some options for them and technical aspects. We hope you'll stay so we can walk you through downloading and using Slack, because we're going to deal with the technical part altogether, because that applies to everybody. So that's kind of the big picture, the 1,000-foot view. Felice, can I turn it over to you? And Chris, can we go to the first slide? Or the next slide?
Absolutely. So welcome, everybody. Angela Gunder is in the house. I see her there in her orange outfit. So welcome, Angela. So I want you to all think about the time that you've been in a place where you walk in the room and there's maybe 100, 150, or even 10, 20 people in there, and you don't know anyone in the room, and you don't know where anything is, and you really wish somebody was there to kind of walk up and introduce themselves to you and say, hey, maybe you're new to this space or new to this group of people. Let me introduce you to some people. Let me take you along. Well, and in the learning experience, we all know this is really important, right? This is all part of social presence, making you feel like you're a human being in this space. So we go to these conferences, and these are huge conferences. And sometimes, you go to Accelerate, half the people, they all know each other. They go off in their little cliques. And we see a lot of people, first timers, and some people don't even want to put that first timer badge on. We wanted to create an experience so that anyone who walks into that conference, whether they've been going for 20 years or if this is the first time there, that they're comfortable. They know who to talk to if they have questions. They have someone that can sort of advocate for them on their learning journey along the way. And so we came up with the field guide program so that we can take folks who are seasoned at OLC conferences, or even if you've been once, right? Or I would even say a field guide can be someone who's never been before, who's really committed to coming in and helping people find their way. And it's really great because you're helping people find their way in a learning experience, but also networking and socializing. And it's making someone feel comfortable. Our goal is to make someone feel comfortable enough that they could walk up to anyone and sort of insert themselves into that learning space, insert themselves into that experience. So we sort of jumped in together. We've made this as easy for you as possible so that you don't have too much to do, but you have a clear enough outline of what it is we'd love for you to do. And the main purpose is to help people have a phenomenal learning experience at OLC when they're on the ground, or at OLC when they're attending virtually, so that they can find their own pathway and not necessarily be alone. The people who want to be alone will stay alone, right? They'll be shy and in their corner or hear that. But, I think about this woman, and her name is Tavia Record. And Tavia walked up to me at a conference and she said, I want you to show me everything, because I just saw you up on the stage. I want you to show me what I should be doing. Tell me where I should go. Tell me what I should do. And it was just an incredible opportunity for me to now have a colleague who I can mentor, and also to help her get more involved in the organization and to have a learning experience that was more suited to her needs. So for each one of us as a field guide, well, first of all, thank you for coming on board. But for each one of us, it's going to be a different experience. And whatever strengths you can bring to help make the Accelerate conference more welcoming, more manageable, more a deeper learning experience for someone new, that's really what we're looking for. It's really about you making this our field guide experience, whatever you can bring to it. If you've ever been to a national park, right? You go in and there's like 6 or 7, we have a great national park here, and there's 6 or 7 different field guides at the station when you come in. And I always know I go to Ranger Bill because I love Ranger Bill's stories, right? And each one of us is going to be different and have a different perspective there at the conference. So I want to be Ranger Bill, but it's about you bringing your perspective, layer your perspective on this experience for our learners to get them going through the conference and make it a better experience for all of us. How's that?
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. So there is no one right, as Felice just said, right way to be a field guide. What we tried to do is lay out a bunch of different options for you. And they start even before the conference with the online Slack community to connect and network with one another. And of course, with people who are new, anybody who wants to participate. And then we have a number of different options for things to do. Some we are going to actually ask you to sign up for an hour, just so that we have coverage, because we want people to be able to find the field guides. And we have some cool hats for you, so that people can recognize you if you're willing to wear them. I'll be in mine. Felice, you may be in your pith helmet, which would also be cool. But we have a base station, and we have field stations that we need to staff. And the goal there is to be able to be found. And we want several people, so that somebody comes up and says, "Can you give me a tour?" You can walk and give them a tour. Somebody says, "I'm new to this field. What can you tell me?" You'll be able to. There'll be enough people to support them. So Clark, do you want to talk a little about the Slack discussions beforehand?
Yeah, sure. And even before that, I think, what I'd emphasize is to think a little about if this is not your first experience at OLC Accelerate, think a little bit about your first experience and the sort of learning curve that you went through to get oriented to the space, to get oriented to, you have 3 different levels of things going on, and plus all the outside activities and so on. And so just let that inform how you can help communicate with the people who are brand new to this conference, so that when they come, the hope is that we'll be able to catch them at the base camp, which is going to be right across from the registration booth, and be able to give them a tour right away so that they can know, here's where the session rooms are, here's where the exhibit hall is and the technology test kitchen, here is where the bathrooms are and the water stations and the breakfast and the lunch and the keynotes and all these different aspects. And so that's really one of the big things that we really want to do is help orient people to the space, so that they just don't have to worry about figuring that out right away. They can focus more on, going to sessions and interacting with people and so on, instead of having to figure that all out and spend so much time doing that. The other one is, as Beth mentioned, the Slack community. So hopefully most of you, if not all of you, are already on there. If you're not, there is a link over on the right there with the Slack icon you can click on. That is will take you to the sign up for our Slack community, where you can set up your account, join. You can log into Slack on your web browser, on your phone, on a tablet, or using the standalone app on your phone or in your laptop or whatever, and all of the above. So once you set up that account, then you're able to go to all those different places. Now the Slack, I'm going to go a lot more in depth into Slack later on when the rest of the participants join us after 1 o'clock. Take you through sort of step by step about joining channels, leaving channels, managing notifications, and all those types of things. But really, the idea there is that we have a back channel. We have a way to communicate, be spontaneous and say, hey, oh, I just realized there's this great thing going on over by the pool or by the beach or at Disney or whatever it happens to be. And people can kind of, who are monitoring their Slack, will be able to get notifications and jump into meetups and so on, and have an opportunity to connect and to collaborate with people while they're there. So that's really the idea with the Slack channel and the team there, is that we've got different channels. And that's the other aspect of the Field Guide program, is really focusing on various topics. So there are channels for things like instructional design, or for faculty members, or for library, or for K-12, or various special sort of interests or topics like analytics or accessibility. And these are some of the big ones that we've heard from people when they registered for the Field Guide program that they were interested in pursuing. So that's really that aspect of, the Slack community. And then we have also the engagement maps to mention, I think, next.
And I think Felice is going to talk a little bit about the engagement maps.
Sure. So we've created these engagement maps, and we want a lot of thanks go out to the team that created engagement maps for the Innovate conference last year. So we built on their model and went through the program. And I tell you, I know every session on the program now. Went through the program and picked out learning pathways for specific audiences. If you go over on the right underneath the Slack, the link to Slack, there's a link to the engagement maps, and we've decided we're gonna do some color coding, but we've got some hashtags that we're using for each one of these areas, and we've created approximately, I think we're up to 13 engagement maps here, and what they are just a curated pathway, recommended curated pathway for someone who's new to online teaching, for experienced instructional designers, faculty development, in these categories that Clark was just talking about. We're also using these colors and these hashtags to guide people in our meetup that we're going to have on site, and also for us to say, well, these are my areas of expertise. And we've got stickers on site so that you can grab a sticker that's, you're a researcher and you can answer a lot of questions about research, and you can get the little sticker to put on your name tag. So this all goes with the engagement maps, and each engagement map has a session that someone can go to in each time slot. Now, these are our formal engagement maps, but if you had a specific topic that you wanted to delve into, you can create a new engagement map, and it does not necessarily need to be color coded. But if you're out there and someone's very specific and they want something, and you've got the time right there at the conference, and say, I recommend you go to these sessions, here's an engagement map. So we can do some on the fly if we want to, but these are already set. There'll be printouts and there'll be handouts that we can give people, and we'll also be able to drive the conference attendees to where these are online. Thanks to Beth and Clark, and also somebody jumped in and did a couple more engagement maps. Clark, I can't remember who that was.
Taylor Kendall, one of the Field Guides. Chris, can you forward the slides, about 2 slides, so we can see the engagement map slide? There you go. There we go. Yep. Yeah.
So QR code for folks to scan and get to those maps, and they're not meant to be dynamic. So that was the one thing that we saw come out of the last conference, is that they were open for conversation, but the conversations didn't happen, and so we're using them just as maps. Right? Here's a guide for you to go through in sessions, and we'll have them at the base camp, and we'll have them at the field station down in the exhibit hall as well. And it would be great to just go in, for all of you, to just go in and familiarize yourselves with the topics that are there, so that you'll know what we'll have on hand, and also what the topics are going to be at the tables that we have in our live event on Wednesday morning. Back over to you guys.
Okay.
So the next topic is the session at the event, I believe, which
It's
is
the
on
kickoff.
Wednesday morning.
And let me do just a once over lightly if we can on that. That's Wednesday at 10. We hope you guys are all going to be able to join us. And what we're doing there is setting up just some lightning rounds with tables for each of these kinds of topics or people, the personas that we have engagement maps around. So if you're new to teaching online, we have an engagement map, there'll be a table. And we'll hope that each of the field guides will pick a table that's of interest to you and just walk through the engagement map with the people who were there, the participants, the newbies who were there, and discuss it. Talk. You'll have maybe 8, maybe 10 minutes, and then we'll ring a little bell, and the people will go to another table. And you're welcome to stay at the same table throughout the morning. And it's a structured way, in a way that we're all used to. It's a set session, but they get to meet 3 different field guides. They get to meet 3 different experts, and you get to start building those relationships and networks and kind of walk them through it. So, there'll be one on new instructional designers, one on experienced instructional designers, people who are engaged in faculty development, experienced online faculty, researchers, and all the different kinds of areas. And that's why, as Felice said, if you want to add, feel free to add another engagement map to kind of help people, because I don't know about you, but it's, at least when I have gone with newbies, it is so overwhelming. There are so many options, and these are not set in stone. These are not perfect walkthroughs, but it's a start that gives people a little bit more clarity and guidance.
Yeah, and I was just going to add to that exactly like Beth said, if there's a special interest or topic that you have a lot of expertise or knowledge or interest in that doesn't already exist in one of those, we would love to add more. Like we said, one of the field guides, Taylor Kendall, built one on K-12 and for librarians. And so we added those in there. So all you'd need to do is kind of look at one, copy the format, create a new one, and share it with us. And then we can share it with the group to get them added in there. And also the other aspect of that is that there are channels for these things in the Slack team as well, so that people can jump into these various channels based on these maps. So if you have another topic, you can build an engagement map if you want to, or we can also just add a channel in Slack as well for to see if you can invite people in there to have a conversation about that particular topic. Let's jump to the next slide and talk briefly about the schedule. So this is just a basic Google spreadsheet. You can see the link there. This is what we want to use to have the staffing of the 2 tables. So we have the base camp right next to the registration booth, and then we have another table at the bottom of the escalator going down into the exhibit hall. Those are our 2 base stations, if you will. And so what we'd like to do is have these staffed at a certain level throughout the conference, especially the first couple of days, because we anticipate those are going to be when we're going to need the most people, where somebody will take off on a tour with a few people, and then we will need other people to still be there to be at the table. So there are little dashes in there, and we ask that you please look through your schedule, find an hour, 2 hours, whatever you can do to help us staff those tables. So there's 2 columns. One is for the one by the registration desk, and the other one's for the one at the bottom of the escalator. And so, not every hour, we haven't put in for 3 or 4 people for every hour, because we know there are going to be times like during the keynote when everybody's going to want to be at the keynote. So we put maybe 1 person in there. But we do ask that you please check that out, put in your initials for whatever you can do, try to fill that thing in so we can have people at those tables throughout the conference. We chose not to put anybody there for Friday. So, we figure by then everybody's got it figured out. We're trying to load it up and stack it up most heavily on Wednesday and Thursday, or even Tuesday evening. But whatever you can do for signing up there will be helpful. Just put your initials in there, show up, and basically all we're asking is to be available to engage with people, have a conversation about what it is, invite them to go to the engagement maps, invite them to join the Slack channel. They can use the QR code or the short URL to join those. They're open for everyone. Somebody doesn't need to have filled out the form to officially join the field guide program, to join the Slack channels. It's open to everyone. Every participant at Accelerate is welcome to join the Slack channels and to use that as a back channel and to use it to connect with people and share ideas and post links and post excellent things they heard in sessions and so on, and meet up with people and do dining meetups and so on.
So I just want to follow up on that because I'm very aware we have 7 minutes until we flip over. We're also going to give people the option of setting times to meet up with people at each of the base station and the field guide station. So we'll have Post-its and we'll have boards, so you can leave a Post-it. Anybody want to do lunch? I'll be here at 12:15 and meet people. Use that as a meeting place. Things to do with people besides, meet them at the tables, to do meals with them, to discuss challenges with them, to discuss any topic that's of interest to you and them, so they have someone that they know to kick ideas around with. The tours, obviously, really important, as has been discussed. Even going to Disney, if you're comfortable, you have the time, you want to, if that seems fun to you to show some new people around Disney, great. That anything that strengthens the community is a good field guide activity as far as we're concerned.
Exactly.
And then we're going to reach out to you after the session, everyone who was involved, to ask for debrief information. We haven't decided yet. We may do that as a shindig session. We may do that through a survey, but we do want to find out what's working effectively. Obviously, it's the first time we've done it. What we get your ideas for how we can improve. And I see a bunch of people in the field guide schedule. That is the best thing. Thank you. Thank you. That's probably the most important thing, along with getting into Slack beforehand to kind of get that organized. And just to let you guys know, in terms of numbers, we have something around 18 field guides, and we're hoping still, if you know other people who know, been to Accelerate, who you think would be appropriate field guides, please invite them to join us, because we'd like to get as many people involved as have the time to share with colleagues, meet new colleagues, show people around, and build up their networks. And Christine is joining us, which is wonderful.
Okay. Well, Angela had to explain to me how to join the podium. I've been here the whole time listening and in the chat box, but I'm not keeping my camera on because I have two big screens. So for me to watch what's going on, I have to look at my screens instead of my little camera on my laptop. So I just want to say hi to everybody. Before I turn my camera off again.
Everyone, that's Christine Hinckley, who's the, what's her title officially?
Senior Director of Conferences. And the funny thing is, I am a field guide for Disney because that is literally the only thing I'm qualified to guide in.
And she's extremely overqualified for the Disney. So everyone should know about the Slack channels for the Disney stuff. You can join Christine. You'll see her everywhere around the conference. She is some of the glue that holds the entire thing together. So a very good person to know and to be able to ask questions at the conference, and especially about Disney.
Yeah. And please don't hesitate, for those who are here staying on as field guides, don't hesitate to participate in whatever avenue or piece of it. If you can make the kickoff, that's wonderful. That will be helpful. But in any way, shape, or form.